Hello everyone, Carmine from New York is live from New York City. How are you? It is Saturday, August 13, 2022. I hope you're all enjoying this cool weather. It's only about 79 degrees here in New York City today compared to it was 98 degrees for almost a month. Boy. Air conditioning bills and brownouts, and just we had a few blackouts. They didn't last too long here in the city. Anyway, today is a multifaceted episode. What am I talking about? Okay, a week ago I made a video. I'm looking at the screen now. It was called Olympus and Panasonic Lumix do not play well together. And that is true. I did a whole video about this Lumix lens, the 45-200, right? When I used it on my Olympus EPL 8. Okay? Micro Four Thirds camera from Olympus, the EPL 8. And I used this Lumix from Panasonic, this very highly acclaimed lens. I'd used them together, and the results were pretty bad. Now, what do I mean by bad? This lens, this Panasonic 45-200 for Micro Four Thirds shooters, has optical image stabilization. It has 16 elements in 13 groups. It came out in 2008. It cost then $350, but most of the time it came as part of a kit when you bought the G1 or the G2. It's technically called the Lumix Panasonic G Vario 45-200, which is a 90-400 millimeter equivalent when you in 35 millimeter full frame. Like I said, it's an f4-5.6 with optical image stabilization, built-in metal lens mount, 7-bladed aperture. I don't know if you can see it. 7-bladed aperture makes beautiful round bokeh. You can get these used, of course. This is version 1. You can get these mint condition today on eBay. I just checked, $142 delivered. Now, there's a version 2 of this lens. It goes for $450. It's in stock, B&H, $450 for the version 2, $142 for the version 1, which you're going to find out in a second how awesome this lens turned out to be. I want to give a shout out to opticallimits.com. I checked their review on this lens and they liked it. Okay, so let's just recap. When I used the Lumix lens, let me just get this right. When I used this Panasonic Lumix lens on the Olympus camera, the EPL 8, right? It was horrible. The focusing was horrible. The image stabilization, horrible. This has IBIS, in-body image stabilization. This has optical image stabilization. Whether I turn this off and this stabilization off and this stabilization on, or both off, it's just terrible. So I did a little research. I found on DP Review a letter written from Olympus to DP Review's forum boards about the problem, that Panasonic and Olympus, they don't play well together, because Olympus was very clear. Their technical group was very clear. It said point blank, don't use Panasonic lenses on Olympus bodies. The algorithms do not match. The focusing algorithms, the stabilization algorithms, they do not match. Okay, so when we left off on that episode last week, I said to you guys, I have two choices about this lens. I could sell it on eBay, or I can get a Lumix camera if it was cheap enough, just the body, because I have the lens. And wouldn't you know it, did a little research, and just the other day, what do you think came in the mail from Japan? A Lumix G2. Okay? This was $108 delivered from Japan. This is a 12 megapixel camera. It's micro four thirds. It came out in 2010. It cost $800 when it came out in 2010. Okay? The Lumix G2. The technical name for it is the DMC G2 from Panasonic. Okay. I got it for $108 delivered from Japan. They're currently around the same. You can get these all day long on eBay. Okay? $108. So now I had a Lumix body, highly recommended, by the way. I went, before I bought it, of course, I went to StephenHuffPhoto.com and quote, he said, I can easily recommend the G2. His review, plus others that I read, gave it a thumbs up. Yes, it was only $108, but it was my $108. Okay? So it came in. Oh, by the way, the G1, right? The difference between the G2 and the G1 is touchscreen, number one, and the movie. I don't shoot movies. I don't do videos with my photography cameras. It got bumped up. The video quality got bumped up. I think, don't forget, it was 2010. I think it got bumped up to 720p. I don't know. You video guys will know. So I picked up the G2, $108. Now remember, I got this lens for free. It came part of a bundle when I bought the EPL 8 from Olympus, right? This came with it, and along with the Lumix lens came this absolutely, I can't say enough good things about it. This 7 Artisans 12 millimeter f2.8 wide angle lens. Oh dear, this is equivalent to a 24 millimeter lens. I did a whole video on it 5 days ago. It's called 7 Artisans 12 millimeter 2.8 lens on the Olympus OMD EM1 Mark II. Go to that video. It was only 5 days ago. So I got this lens with the Lumix lens bundled with the EPL 8, and this lens no problem because it's fully manual. There's no contacts, there's no algorithm problems with 7 Artisans lenses. So back to the story. The Lumix G2 comes in, body only, of course, battery and charger included, for $108 delivered from Japan, right? Lumix lens, line it up. Now, the photographs I took with this setup are just gorgeous. I went down to the beach and I photographed for 5 hours. I just could not get enough. The in-body stabilization in the G2, coupled with the lens that has optical image stabilization, gave me about 2.5 stops of steady, beautiful photographs. I set the camera to take RAW and black and white JPEG, okay? And wait till you see the photographs that I took with this setup, right? The lens was free, but if you wanted to buy it, if you wanted to buy the lens, they're $142 for the lens right now on eBay, and the camera $108. So $108, $142, and you've got a micro four thirds system. And don't forget, this lens has the equivalent of a 90 to 400. And look, zoomed all the way out. Look at it compared to my hand. Try and get a 400 millimeter full frame 35 millimeter lens to be this big. Okay, so let me just make sure I went over everything. Okay, when I photographed down at the beach, you're going to see those photographs right now. I shot program mode. My ISO was 400 because it was a bright sunny day, but I wanted to make sure I got a very high shutter speed because I wanted pinpoint sharp photographs. Okay, I had it on, for some of the pictures I had it on single shot, but you're gonna see some bird photographs that I took, and I had that set on, I think it goes to like 3 frames per second. I had it set on that. Okay, so program mode, right? This camera gives you all the usual settings: manual, shutter speed priority, aperture priority, program mode, and it gives you some other modes you can use that I don't use. You know, the stuff on here for video. Okay, pop-up flash. You know how I feel about pop-up flash. Use it, fill light outside, gorgeous. And if you're going to use it inside, put your diffuser on, right? It slips into the hot shoe. You know that. I've done like 10 episodes on that. And I think that's just about it. Oh, the battery. Did I put the battery in? Wait till you see the size of this battery. I shot for hours and it still had full. Look at how huge the width of this battery is. Okay, I shot for hours and it didn't. Oh, and it's an original Panasonic battery. You would think, now I don't know if this is the original one from when the camera was new in 2010, right? That'd be 12 years old. It might be a new one. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Usually what happens when I buy a digital camera and it comes with the battery, the OEM battery, I just throw it out. You know, I recycle it. I bring it to Home Depot or Lowe's. They have a drum where you can put lithium batteries in and they recycle them. All right, so let's take a look at the photographs. Finally, I get to use this Lumix lens the way it was designed to be used, attached to a Lumix camera where their algorithms are perfect. And the bottom line, when you're using Olympus cameras, use Olympus lenses, or highly recommended 7 Artisans lenses. These are as heavy as lead, but they are gorgeous. All right, so right now we're going to look at the photographs I took with the G2 from Lumix / Panasonic, the 45-200 Lumix lens at the beach here in New York. All right, guys, be good. We didn't go too long, 15 minutes, not bad. All right, guys, let's look at those photos right now. Here we go.